Hello, Goddess, and welcome to the first Super Sign Sunday Divine Feminine Energy Check-in that we have done around here in, nearly 2 months' time. There's been a whole lot of focus elsewhere that's needed to be had, and a lot of times we do that because, we need to go and grow through some things. We need to experience things wherein we have to look for and find our power in other spaces and places where we have acquiesced it and therefore take it back, right? And that's definitely something that yours truly, Rochelle Richard, has been doing these past 2 months, is really looking at the ways that I've been giving my power away by focusing on other things that are actually, a lot of them, distracting from where my attention is supposed to be with regard to what I desire to be creating for myself. And that's, there's so much of that is happening right now in the sense of the magnitude of how many relationships, circumstances, situations, how many conditions of our lives that we have tolerated, we have allowed, we have ignored, we have denied our actual patterns. Any of these aspects and facets of our shadow selves, both within ourselves individually and of course within the collective, these things are amplified and becoming more and more so because we cannot hide from this any longer. We can no longer run from our past. We have to turn and face it. We have to reclaim our power where we once gave it away. And that is exactly why I have been in my own little journey these last couple months. But I am definitely led to hop on and do this mid-month in April energy check-in for our divine feminine energy, because again, there's so much happening, so much going on, and I don't know about you, Goddess, but I sure as fuck am ready for more grounding, for less chaos, for more clarity, and really being confident in asserting the boundaries, especially more and more so as we move forward, because you're going to be finding right now that, mercy, energy vampires are at an all-time high. People from your past are coming out the woodwork left and right because you are at a new level and you're fast ascending to higher and higher levels in this journey, and that pace is picking up. And so that's why it feels like there's so much chaos and it can feel overwhelming. I've been feeling this too, Goddess. I have been feeling it too. And thus the reason why I simply haven't been present to create any of these videos. I haven't wanted to. But today, oh yes, I do. And so without further ado, come with me into the forests for more than the trees. Let's discover and embrace all this intuition sees. Together we shall come to find that which we need to reclaim our goddess power on this divine journey indeed. With that, let's see what we need to see. As I've said, the amount of chaos and overwhelm is exponential. And that is why right now you're finding out for yourself who the authentic people are in your life. And those are the people with whom you are being called to create partnerships. Truly, really reaching a point of discernment for yourself that you don't care about someone else's feelings, especially if they are not doing and being who and what they need to do and be in order to create what they want to be creating for themselves, but rather are sucking your energy. Ooh, there's been so much of that happening these last 2 months in my life, of just incredible energy vampires that come along. It's a whole, it's an energy of stop worshiping the false idols, the fake gurus that are out there, and really allow for yourself to have these boundaries, this discernment, and this personal power wherein you say, oh no, not today, not for me, and you pivot towards those things and people and places that are. Because as you rise, you must let go of the things that no longer vibrate or aren't willing to rise with you. This includes most definitely people. If people are not willing to take that self-responsibility and acknowledge for themselves the impact that they have on their experience, and of course you, by their actions, by their energy, then you have to be the one to be protecting your energetic space, because otherwise they're going to drag you down, and then nobody wins. In fact, everybody loses in essence in that space, right? Because you don't achieve what you want, they certainly don't, other than, draining you of your vital life force that you need to be creating what you are here to be creating. And that is why it is so important at this time to be more and more discerning of who you are partnering with in projects and just in life in general, whatever it is you have going on. It is important for you to be able to recognize the people who are showing up for you, who are present, and simultaneously eager to carry their fair share of the load and not put it all on you. Big time with this, because as we move more and more into this building of the new earth and such, you gotta make sure that you don't have someone on the team who's sabotaging the team or you or the project or whatever it is. And this sabotage so often comes in the most subtle of forms. It's often something that they may not even be aware of that they're doing. But that's the other point here, is we each have to be taking that self-responsibility and stepping into greater and greater self-awareness and self-acknowledgement, self-empowerment of recognizing the power that we each have within ourselves, and in turn owning that power. And that's when huge things can be built. Huge things can be built when you are owning that. Oof, exactly. Huge things. Magic. That's when magic happens. Is when we each are standing in our power and we come together and we combine that power and we create something even greater, because we are authentically showing up in that which we are bringing to this world. We are eager to show up, to put in the work, to focus our energies and our power toward the magic that we are creating with each other. And that's where we are in this space of the leaving the old behind us and stepping into the new. We've been so divided and so separated and made to believe that there are any separate groups of humans, of humanity. We're all one. There is the law of one. But that's why, again, why all the purging and the clearing out of those energies, the energy vampires, the entities that are not of the unity consciousness. And I mean the true light unity consciousness. There is a whole false light movement, as we know, wherein there's a lot of embracing the extinction timeline of humanity. And I'm not here to speak on that today. I'm definitely not led to do that. It's about focusing on what we are here to be focusing on and creating the new in a space and place wherein our energy is rising, right? We are creating things that everybody wins in, right? There is no one in that who is getting more than the other, in essence, by way of energy vampirism. You know, we are here to bring, well, to bring our light into this world and create magic within it with each other. Oof, oof. Well, here we are. We got a triple header here. Boom. Oof. Because you are a goddess. You are a goddess, and you've got to be the one to acknowledge the worth of you. Even I recently, like I said, with the energy vampires, have fallen. I won't say fallen, right? But we take a step back into we step into the pile of shit again, right? We're walking along our path, we're doing the work, and next thing you know, we step back. And that's what I was referencing about that self-sabotage. It can often be very subtle, and before you know it, you're going, oh crap. We got a situation here. Houston, we have a problem, right? And you're like, wait a minute, how did I get myself caught up into this? But in that space, right, you have the choice as the goddess here, right? You have the choice to either come from that wounded space and beat yourself up for getting into that situation, or you can acknowledge for yourself, like, I've even recently had someone say to me that, wow, you are so grounding for me, even though I'm an air sign of all things. I'm so grounding for her because she says, you help me to, while some things you dive into, other things you're like, wait a minute, and you cause me to pull back and actually take into account what's going on and apply that discernment. And as a result, you know, she's also starting to be able to recognize a lot quicker people that are not in her life for the right reasons, right? And it's, again, recognizing those energetic boundaries for yourself, that we each have to be self-responsible for what we're bringing to this world, what we're creating. And the more we can protect our own energy and say, I will not partake in that, I will not participate in that, I will not contribute to that, you pull your energy away, and they can no longer siphon your energy to feed their negative intentions or their sabotage that is sabotaging themselves and you and the whole project or whatever it may be, right? Because that's where we are right now. That shit is amplified, right? So this being a goddess, stepping more and more into that goddess energy and that goddess power for you is honoring you, honoring your energy, honoring your space, and being the leader for others that are around you, setting that example. Because that is the path to freedom. You are the only one that can break yourself free of the illusionary chains in which your mind keeps you locked in. That's what self-sabotage is. That is what people-pleasing, all these things that, and the perspective of not enough, the self-judgment, the oof. And having been around someone who is so judgmental of themselves and of me and of the people in my life, it just reaches a point where you're like, ooh, take that somewhere else. Liberate yourself from the things that are holding you down, tying you down, and fly free, stepping into all you've come to be. Take delight. And that's coming to me for the space of, again, becoming aware. When you can be aware a lot sooner in these situations and circumstances with energy vampires and false gurus, right? Start to see through the falsehood, the inauthenticity of them. Because we have to really, as we're moving into this where there's very clear distinction between different timelines we're being offered right now as a collective, that there is the timeline where we give our power away and we fall victim, right? We fall to the manipulation and deception of fake intelligence or artificial intelligence, right? It's fake. It's inauthentic. It's unreal. Literally, it is not real. Whereas you and I, Goddess, we're real. We're very real. We're very physical. Okay, so that's why, well, in addition to our spiritual aspect, our soul aspect, but it is our soul within our vessels, right? We are in such a time of needing such honed discernment that is why you've got to celebrate when your discernment allows you to recognize that, ooh, toxic, not real, inauthentic, going the other way. Take delight in that space. You don't need to feel bad that, oh, this person, I got myself into this mess and oh my goodness. No, that feeds that lower vibration. That continues to keep you down and perhaps those around you, is in addition to the collective. The more we can let go of that guilt and shame and judgment and blame and guilt. I said guilt twice because we all like to carry that shit, don't we? And rather practice the pivot, focus on the accomplishments that you're making, the growth that you've been achieving. Stop looking at the negative of things, the darkness of things, and continue to be focusing toward the light, toward what you're creating, what you desire to be creating. And especially, I'm hearing, take delight in the authenticity and the trueness of you, the realness of you. Because you're here to have an impact on this world. You are here to be your own quote unquote guru. Because the answers for what you're being called to do, where you're being called to go in your journey, and what you're being called to create, those answers are all in you. What works best for you. Was a lot of the things I've been doing in the past year and a half, working with entrepreneurs, almost 2 years now, working with entrepreneurs in creating content and doing emails and websites and all of, I've been having fun. It's been definitely a challenge. However, monetizing all these skills that I have to offer. And that's a part of owning your worth and not holding yourself back in this tiny little box of just certain things. That's why now, cards, coaching, and clarity for self-love, twin flame, and entrepreneurial empowerment. I don't fit in a box. Nobody puts baby in a corner. And I've definitely been saying that for years. But that's this journey, is you've got to be the one to embrace your own expansion, to surrender to your own expansion and allow yourself to further expand. Yes, I'm saying that over and over and over to reiterate to you that is why you're here. And that when we hold ourselves back, when you hold yourself back from the fear of hurting someone's feelings, but yet you can recognize that they're not really healthy for you. It's a toxic space, a toxic environment, whatever that is, or things need to shift or change in some way, shape, or form because things are out of alignment and you're being drained. You've got to recognize that it is an act of self-love and an act of ultimate love, of divine love, when you say, no more, this is not healthy for me or you, and it's time that we shift something, and maybe everything. But we've got, you, Goddess, we each have got to be the ones to make these shifts and changes in each our own experiences and stand in that. Be confident. That is what owning your self-worth is all about. And I promise you, Goddess, the moment, and I watch this because, again, the opportunity of potentially working with someone who used to be semi-famous, but not really, like nobody I've mentioned his name to has known who he is. But the ego of this individual, by basically putting those around him, and I watched it happening with me, my friends, and others, that he has all the value. We all just need to basically bow down to him and cater to him and offer all of our services and wisdom and expertise for free. And the moment I enacted those boundaries, those energetic boundaries, and I told my friend and I pointed these things out, and because I'll observe and take things in before I start to really make a decision, I will observe patterns in people. This is what I do. I observe patterns in myself. So of course I'm going to be observing patterns in others. And when it's really truly a pattern and it's a detrimental pattern, you gots to go. I will finally reach a point where I'm like, nope, I'm done. Nope, arm's length at the very minimum, at the 6 feet, in fact, at the very minimum, right? Because we each have to be the ones to protect that energetic boundary. Well, here's the thing, goddess, I assure you, and this is, like I'm saying, happens every time for me. When I have an energy vampire that is draining my energy, the moment I put a kibosh on that and I declare to the universe, I am done with this shit, and I pivot and I say, I am ready for this, out with the bad shit, in with the good shit, right? I'm ready for this. Literally within 24 hours, 48 maximum, I'm getting a call from yet another client exactly, or whatever this other thing is, which happened. I literally got an inquiry for a website to be built. What? Wow. All because I said, no, you go siphon energy from someone else. You don't get mine anymore, and cut that off. And instead pivoting over here, again, choosing the partnerships that are actually feeding me and I them, where we're actually both putting and pooling in our energies together to create this magic that we're here to create. All right. So that is huge. That is huge for you to step into that space of saying, I am done with this. And again, releasing any guilt or obligation to that individual, because we each are here for our own soul's learning and journey. And we must be taking that self-responsibility, because ultimately when shit doesn't work out your way, it doesn't go how you want it to go. And in fact, when it goes really awry, isn't it often, so often, that you've gotten yourself caught up in someone else's shit? And so that's why your shit's gone awry, because you're all up in theirs. And they're not doing what they need to be doing so that they're not in. Yeah. It's being in that space. Owning your self-worth and not tolerating any BS from others. All right? That aren't honoring your self-worth. Okay? If they're not honoring your value or your worth, then, well, it's time for them to maybe exit themselves out of your life. Okay? So that you have space for those people and projects and circumstances to come in that are. That's how this works. So in order to do that, let's ask, where is our power of surrender in this? Where are we being asked to surrender and just allow for things to reveal themselves, to unfold, to flow in? Our power of surrender right now. Ooh, we've got some mix-ups going here. Oh, there we are. There we go. Boom. Oh. This one leaves me speechless for a moment. When do we tend to develop resentments, goddess? I know for me, I can honestly say that it comes from when I compromise myself to do something for someone else that I really don't want to do. So then in turn, I end up resenting both them and myself for having done the very thing that if I'd only asserted my boundaries from the beginning to ensure that if this is an energy vampire, it sees itself out of my life, right? But instead, being able to go, no, I am standing. This is the line. The line is drawn. I'm on my side of it, because if we cross this, this is what's going to come to be. There will be resentment within me, within you. Who knows? Who knows what other ways? So it's important to recognize that first and foremost, you've got to be the one to continue to practice, because that's what this is, to continue to practice for yourself, asserting your boundaries, honoring your worth. Okay? When you are certain and you can feel within yourself that this is going to compromise my self-worth, my self-perception, I'm not doing this. And you've got to be the one to be okay with it. It don't matter if they're not okay. That's their problem, not yours. Okay? So if you are harboring resentments right now, goddess, it is definitely time to make that list and go and put into practice the Ho'oponopono practice. Because resentments are, in essence, definitely something that you've got to release for yourself. You've got to forgive yourself for not standing in your truth and honoring your boundaries and not fully respecting yourself. In essence, disrespecting yourself. Because that's what in turn teaches others to disrespect you. Okay? So make the list of these things that are weighing heavy on you, and then put into practice the Ho'oponopono practice. As I call it, the forgiveness freedom practice, because forgiveness is for giving you the freedom to move on with your life, so you're not continually staying stuck in the past. And there we are, surrender to the wisdom of your body, listening to when shit feels heavy, listening to when things feel misaligned, to when people or places or situations are draining you. You've got to be listening to this, and more and more and more as we move into, again, this unknown and this space of the greatest amount of deception and fraud that has ever been perpetrated upon the human collective, right? We are here to see through the bullshit, whether it's ours or others or the whole convoluted structure, system, matrix that is working so hard to fully enslave all of humanity. We are here to break free of the chains that have kept humanity in these lower vibrations for millennia. We're here to break free of that and further rise and thrive. All right, now, I love doing our angel numbers. Let's see what magical surprises await for us. Let's see here. Ooh, doggy. Oh my goodness. 9, and that's the right side. That's right upright. 99. Like, right off the bat, number 9 is the end of a cycle. And as we're already talking about on this video, all the shit that you thought, that we all thought, we could just be like, I'm just going to sweep that over here. I'm just going to stuff that in that closet over there. I'll get to that later. You know, it's later. That's why it's 4 9s. Not just 1, not 2, 4. Because this is it, baby. This is it. Okay? 99 is telling you be more aware and empathetic to those less fortunate than you. Now, in that be aware space, you can have that empathy. The discernment is in honoring your boundaries as an empath to ensure that you are not contributing to their own detriment and demise, but rather honoring your energy and their energy and being what you can be and offering what you can offer to those that are in a position that is less than fortunate compared to where you consider yourself to be. 99.99 is a symbol of enlightenment, compassion, and humanitarianism. Hello, enlightenment, the end of these old cycles and stepping into a time of much, much, much greater awareness and consciousness, illumination of what the truth of humanity, what we really are, what the power is that we truly possess. There's lots of growth and wisdom with 99.99. Again, that's exactly what this is. That's why all of these things are coming up, because you've got to grow now. You cannot stay stuck and stagnant. It's time to now let yourself grow and blossom. You are truly blessed. That's what 99.99 says. You are truly blessed. So again, practice the pivot, focus on the individuals, the circumstances, the spaces and places, yourself. Focus on all the things throughout your life that you consider to be blessings, because they are. 99.99, life transitions taking place, endings and beginnings. And as we know, with every ending automatically comes a new beginning in some way, shape, or form. And this is where we are. So what new beginning are you creating for yourself, Goddess? What are you putting in towards this collective new earth rising? And 99.99 says, your skills, talents, and divine gifts are beneficial to the lives of others. They are. That's why we're here, to create magic through our partnerships with those who are aligned and truly authentic, so that we can put our gifts and talents and skills to use in this world, rather than have them, rather than to not honor them and to not recognize the value of them. This is part of you recognizing your self-worth, Goddess, is you have to recognize the value of what you have to offer the world and then show up and offer it. It is that simple. I am here to remind you that I am here for you. I got my little sign now. Find your power now at empowermentexperiences.com. You can book a 30-minute session. I also have email readings. There are options on my website for me to support you in your looking for finding and reclaiming your power in self-love, twin flame, and entrepreneurial empowerment, whatever that looks like for you. So with that, dear Goddess, I remind you that the power is in your hands, because that power has always, always been inside you. Namaste.